Right, let's get straight on with the question. So hit the requirements, using Exhibit 1, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we copy that out. And what it wants us to do is using Exhibit 1 and in accordance with IFRS 10, explain why we do not control this company called Brassioc. Okay, why we do not control it. So it's all about IFRS 10 and it's all about control. So let's get on with some knowledge work. So first of all, state our knowledge. So the knowledge is all about how to have control and therefore a subsidiary, or in this case, how not to have control apparently. But what we need is those three things, if you remember: power to direct the relevant activities. The relevant activities are those which produce the returns. And we need to have the power to direct them unilaterally, i.e. on our own, for it to be a sub. We need to therefore have exposure to the variable returns from these relevant activities, so the rights to these variable returns. And then what we've got to do, we've got to have the ability to be able to use our power to affect these variable returns. And if you can do that, then you've got a subsidiary. Let's go back and now apply it. Okay, and I want to show you exactly how the examiner answered it, and it should be quite straightforward to you. First of all, IFRS 10 is mentioned. There are no marks for mentioning the standard name or number, but it's just there just to tell you where it came from. You could put the standard says, whatever. 3 elements of control. Power over the investee, yeah, we got that. Exposure or rights to variable returns from involvement with the investee, yeah, we got that. The ability to use the power to affect those returns, yeah, we got that. And it says rights confer power when they are sufficient to give the investor the current ability to direct the relevant activities unilaterally, yeah, we got that. And relevant activities are those which affect significantly in the investee's returns. You don't have to get that perfectly, as long as you can write out power, exposure, ability in your own words, you're going to get the marks for it. But as we all know, SBR is not just about work, not just about knowledge, it's also about application. So it says using Exhibit 1. Here we go then. So it says, and all we're going to do, we're going to make sure that we use every part of this scenario. So on the 1st of January, we acquired 45% of Brassioc. So stop there. Does holding 45% give us power? So obviously you think, no, it doesn't, because we're the minority. Let's just see how the examiner answered that. Control is normally assumed when an investor holds more than 50% of the voting rights. Layout only owns 45% of the voting rights, and this suggests that control does indeed not exist. In your own words, what could be simpler? Back to the scenario. On the acquisition of the 45%, we could appoint 5 out of the executive directors. Okay, I'm going to ignore the non-executives at the moment. So we can appoint 5. Well, that means nothing. If it's 5 out of 5, we've got control. If it's 5 out of 100, we haven't got control, have we? And it says there are 12 executive directors. So do we have control if we own 5 out of 12? Can we make unilateral decisions? Obviously not. Let's go see the examiner's answer. Layout cannot take any decision on its own, i.e. unilaterally, as business decisions require the approval of 7 out of 12. Why 7 out of 12? Well, 6 would be 50%. Over 6 would give you control, wouldn't it? So 7. And we only have 5. Easy. This is not a tricky question. Going through this scenario, we need to learn the knowledge, the basic PEA, and then we just apply it to the scenario, use every line that comes along. They also told us we have 4 non-execs, and there are 7 non-execs which comprise the board of directors. We've got 4 out of 7 of the non-executives. Does that now give us control? Because that's the majority. And it says, well, the executive directors make all the key business decisions by a simple majority. The non-executive directors just help in the strategic development and provide advice, but cannot vote on business decisions. The directors appointed by Layout always vote in accordance with how we want. So the non-executives then, they don't have voting rights, so they don't give us control, do they? Will we mention that in our answer? Yes, we will. And then we'll have applied all of that paragraph, wouldn't we? So back to the examiner's answer. Also, the fact that layout can appoint the majority of the non-executive directors is irrelevant, as they have no decision-making power. Currently, they do not have rights then which give the ability to direct the relevant activities of the company, and so therefore it isn't a subsidiary so far. Carried on, the other 55%, so we own 45, remember, the other 55% are owned by a single person who can appoint the remaining 7 and 3 non-execs. So the other 55%, he has complete control, or she has complete control over the 7 executive directors. So the other 55% has control. And that's always the case if it's just one person, one investor. If it was a million, then they'd all vote in different ways. But this is one, so they're all going to vote. So it's going to vote in one way. They have control. So nice and straightforward. Put that in your own words. Let's put it in the examiner's words. Here we go. Moreover, the other 55% are held by a single investor rather than being dispersed. And I think you should elaborate on that a little bit and say, and therefore they can do what the hell they want, basically. Okay, let's keep going. During our year, we entered into a forward contract to purchase an additional 10%. So you think, okay, we can purchase an additional 10%, and that would take us to 55% and therefore give us control. But it's not until October X8. So at the moment, it's what we call not substantive. When exercised, this will not change the number of directors which layout can appoint. So even having the extra 10% still doesn't give us the power to affect the returns. Okay, so again, you'd put that in your own words, nice and straightforward. So in the examiner's words, the forward contract settlement date is in 9 months' time, and therefore we don't have the current ability to direct the relevant activities of Brassillon. And you could put, and even if we did, it can't change the numbers. So that's it. We've looked at the whole scenario. Layout believes that Brassillon is accounted for as a subsidiary because it controls it, and obviously they don't control it. So a final conclusion is needed. So this means that the existing private investor, the one who has 55%, can direct the relevant activities, and therefore we can't, so therefore it's not a subsidiary. And I've put it in twice for no reason. Okay, and that's it. It really straightforward, little bit of knowledge, make sure we applied it. And I just want you to just see there, we use the entirety of that. There might have been a couple of sentences in there you think, I'm not sure what he's getting at there. Still use it, still put it in, because you'll get an identification mark potentially, and have a guess. And often your guesses are right. So make sure you use it, and that's how you did it.